Raiweshla, or the pure tongue, is a language of culture and learning in this mythology. Educators and educated, lord and lady, must at least have a working knowledge of the language, if they expect to communicate with their peers. Kiathet is still the dominant language of the people, and their kings still speak it, but the kings also speak Raiweshla. The original speakers of Raiweshla come from a river valley in the middle of a desert. From there, they spread their influence, culture, technology, and art across a wide reach. They are much like ancient Egypt, but I won't make them merely ancient Egyptian. The speakers of Raiweshla also had a Roman shade, taking in aspects of other cultures to make themselves greater. This was their main goal, to become greater. At first it was merely culture and technology through which they bettered themselves, then medicine, and finally magic. They were once human, but altered themselves to such a degree that they were unrecognizable. 7 feet tall with perfect biology and incredibly long lives were just a few of the things which they were able to achieve, but it wasn't enough. The Raiwelshlaiks wanted more, to be perfect, to overcome death, but they couldn't. They never could. All their striving for perfection, and all it took was a slippery floor, a falling brick, or a sparring accident for them to be slain. Not even magic could save them from this, so they gave up their striving for perfection and became the most religious society in the world. Their language was built to reflect them. I tried to make Raiweshla sound pretty, but I can't say that I did. Oh well. Their word order is object, subject, verb, which is more common than object, verb, subject. Because it's not something I'm familiar with, I may have done a thing or two those languages don't. Like, how can you tell the object and subject apart? Where one name ends and the other begins? Well, I solved this problem by adding j, which means who, to the end of the object's name, so you know who's the one doing it. This, along with adjectives derived from nouns, again, means the word order is actually a little more fluid. That said, Raiwelshlaiks haven't entirely stopped being perfectionists, so your Raiweshla tutor will still chew you out if you speak in an unusual word order. Additionally, there are prefixes to denote different things. Time, which is actually based on the different stages of the life of wheat. Wheat seeds are the future, while harvested wheat is the past. Also, the plural prefix is mra. But as I said, Raiweshla gets its adjectives from nouns, but there isn't a way to mark them as adjectives as of yet. Who knows, they might adopt Kiathet's to their own language, although they don't have that exact vowel in their phonology, so it might turn out a little different. I decided C replaces K in this language just because this language is a little mental, but I only made it to name people and places and to give people titles, not to speak it in conversation. That said, Kiathet took me 2 weeks to make. This took me 2.5 days. I will not try to make a language that quickly again. Another day at least. But it just goes to show you how good Bibliodarium's guide is and how simple it is. Of course, like half of the time working on Kiathet was just lexicon. And Raiwelshla's lexicon is much smaller at the moment. This will be filled in as needed. but I have the framework to create new words as needed. Oh, I almost forgot the writing system. It was originally a logography, or as I say, like any other time, hieroglyphics. They're pictures which represent words. They were originally written on clay with a chisel, but when they discovered papyrus, a kind of paper, they transitioned to writing it with a brush. Over time, they decided to transition from a logography to an alphabet. So they used words to represent the first sound in the word. So t, which means bird, was simplified and made to represent t. However, they still use the old symbols for other purposes, like heraldry. As for how to read this, it's right to left. They used to write them any which way, as most of the characters aren't symmetrical, but they eventually decided to write, right to left. The reason for this is because the writing hand cannot change what has been written, only what is about to write. And they were mostly right-handed. Scratch that, they were mostly left-handed and wanted to see what they had just written. I don't know why the world is right-handed. There are probably 24 YouTube videos on why that is so. I can educate myself on it later. Anyway, for the last language in this set, I want to take more time in it. Working on this for only 2.5 days gave me a headache. Let's give myself a little more time. I'm also thinking of making the next one an abjad, where the writing system doesn't denote vowel sounds, like ancient Hebrew. Of course, this plan also includes only having 2 vowels, so let's see where that takes me. For now, I leave you with a less memey and long-winded Raiweshla. Farewell.